And good morning. Welcome to Cougar Paws on 1590 KVGB. I'm Steve Webster, your host. Welcome back to the program. We get a chance to talk all about the great things happening at our college, Barton Community College. Joining us, a friend of the show. We haven't seen him for a while. Dr. Rick Abel in a new line of work.
A new chapter in my life.
Okay, that's a good way to put it.
A new chapter.
New chapter. Dr. Abel, now the theater director and instructor at Barton Community College. Also with us is Kolton Landreth, a young man from Wichita, a campus colt, and he's joining us in studio today. He's Uncle Fester. I mean, welcome to the show, Kolton. And I know he's a perfectionist because when I wrote his name down, he said, "No, that's a K." So now, as long as I pronounce it right, welcome to spelling and radio, man.
Well, the way I see it is, I've been doing theater for 7 years, so I've worked my way up. So I can at least have my name spelled right.
Okay, well, here, let me do it right now. There's K. Okay, Kolton Landreth. Yeah. Anyway, welcome to the program. Dr. Abel, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty darn good, thanks. I'm returning to my roots. I think most people who know me know that my beginnings were in the theater, both educational theater, professional theater, community theater. 2 of my 3 degrees are in theater. And always when I was a dean, both here at Barton Community College and my previous positions, the theater stuff has always been in my area. And I was the president of the Arts Council. Now I'm the vice president. So the college came to me a whopping 2 months ago and said, "How'd you like to take over the theater department?" It took me about 3 seconds to say yes, and I'm just having a ball with putting together a whole new season, first plays, putting together scholarships. Heck, I just recruited a student this morning. It's like the athletics department does, and I'm bringing a student in on Wednesday. What's the first day of classes? Wednesday.
That's the way to do it. See, that's the way the coaches do it, too. They bring in basketball players. Heck, the season starts. So, I mean, you're bringing in talent. It doesn't matter when you bring it in. So, they say sometimes that, Dean of Education at Barton Community College seems like a pretty good gig. And then you do this. They say that you're re-energized. Is that the way you feel?
I think so, because I loved being the dean. I had a good time. I loved working for the college. But, it reminds me of years ago, I was interviewing for a job, and a number of people have said this, deans, administrators, I'd love to go back to the classroom. So I get that opportunity. I'm going back to the classroom. And in this case, I'm, with the theater stuff, it's not just the classroom. It's the plays and the students and all this other stuff that we're working on.
Well, we're going to talk about your vision for this department and some of the things you have in the works. I don't know if it's safe or not when your mind gets rolling on things because I know it's going 1,000 miles an hour. But let's go ahead and get an update. The first thing out of the chute, auditions for Our Town.
Right.
Thornton Wilder.
1937.
And you said it's a classic.
Yeah, most people will refer to Our Town. I think the listeners, many of them should know it. They probably read it in high school someplace. They probably saw it someplace. It's considered by many experts as being America's greatest play. It deals with family and community and love and marriage and death. But it's a really heartwarming piece of theater.
Was this already in place, or is the first thing that you did say, we're doing Our Town?
It was me.
Yeah. So this is, how long did it take? Okay, I got to come up with, how long did it take you to come up with Our Town? So I want to do that right out of the chute.
In the back of my head, there's always been plays that I would like to do. And I'm also, when I was in school as a theater major, even though I've done just about everything there is to do in a theater, I geared myself towards theater history. So picking something like Our Town was an easy decision to make, and it does. And as an educational theater person, and sometimes people don't realize I have a responsibility first to be an educator. So I think my students, my community, and so forth, if they're not aware of Our Town, they need to be aware of Our Town. And I picked a play that I think is a pleasant play to watch. It's a pleasant play to direct. and I think people will quite enjoy it. And then on top of it, I've educated them a little bit.
You guys got to learn something as you go. Okay, we'll talk more about Our Town as we get closer. It's going to be September 29th and 30th and October 1st. We won't talk about the auditions now. What are you looking for?
A good mix, because there really is a good mix of roles in the play. There's about 20 such on roles, and those roles go from the stage manager, who was pretty much on stage 70% of the time, to people with one line, two lines, 2 pages of lines. So I've got a nice mix of opportunities for people who want to get their feet wet, and I'm looking for a mix of students, faculty, staff, and community members.
Do you have a weighted out? Okay, I want 30% from the community. I want 30% of students. I want 30% of faculty members.
I don't think I can get that specific at the moment. I haven't finished uncrossing my fingers for it. So
that's always interesting about Barton Theatre and the way that we do these different, of course, the musical every year. We get community members. It's an interesting mix that I think is great. It gets the community involved with the college, it gets the college involved in the community.
Yeah, without a doubt. When I was in South Texas teaching down there and running theater stuff like there was a person who came to our arts council meeting at the time, and he said, where's your community theater? I said, you're looking at it. He says, but you're with the college. I said, yeah, but I open my theater stuff to everybody who gets involved, and I want everybody to get involved. And that's my same philosophy here.
Okay, what do we need to know about these auditions?
Well, you don't need to prepare for them. I've put out a lot of, they're from 4 to 8 on those dates, August 22 and 23 in the Fine Arts Auditorium. I've got a sign-up sheet when you come in, give me some little information. If you go to the college's website, then you'll get to the Performing Arts website, and I've put information in there about the characters, and I've put information in there as a plot summary for the play, so you can read up on it. But when you come to auditions, and you come anytime between 4 and 8, then no preparation is necessary. I'll have you read some parts, and there's some pantomime situations in this show. So I'll have some people see how they do on. And they don't need to be a Marcel Marceau pantomime. I suspect somebody knows what I'm talking about. But they need to be able to work without props in their hand, but act as if they have those props.
You brought Mr. Kolton Landreth with you. You didn't tell me about this. This is a surprise.
Yeah, surprise guest. It's like when Dean Martin came out on Jerry Lewis on the. You remember that one?
You've got to come. You've got a limited audience in here, okay? I just kind of go along with the flow. Kolton, give us your background.
Well,
besides being a campus cult, that's awesome.
Well, I started doing theater at the age of 14, and started out doing very small parts, doing ensemble roles, getting to know everything, and slowly but surely worked my way up. I started doing internships in costume design, makeup design, and I started doing professional theater with 2 professional companies in Wichita doing costume and makeup design. And then I went off and got certified by Krylon International, which is a huge makeup company in the United States, and got certified by them. And then I got offered a tuition and book scholarship to come do theater here, and met some amazing, wonderful people.
Who offered it to you?
Dr. Abel.
And who did that? Yeah, Dr. Abel.
That was all Dr. Abel. And I've met some amazing people out here, and yeah, it's been wonderful.
Now, my daughter went through campus, so
right.
Let me tell you, that talk about theater department,
yeah,
strong theater department, right?
Well, whenever I started, we got a new teacher. McGlenn had left to go to McPherson, and we got a new teacher, and we were all on the fence about it. I'd known McGlenn, I'd worked with him before, and now we had this new teacher, and it was all new, but she was absolutely wonderful, was very understanding, and she tried to expose us to all sorts of theater and all different kinds of theater.
When did you talk to Dr. Abel first? Because you probably thought you were getting a call from like New York State College, right?
I honestly get that a lot. Like when I tell people, they're like, "Why are you here?" No. Well, what happened was, Erin Renard used to be the theater teacher, and I was working with her, and then I wanted to focus on education because I'm wanting to be a theater teacher, and then he took over, and now he called me and was like, "You want a scholarship?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do. Let's do this."
Put you on the spot. What do you like about this gentleman?
He's funny. He's got a really good personality. He's really laid back. At least with him, I can crack jokes. I don't have to worry about getting my scholarship pulled or anything.
What are your roles? I mean, why'd you bring him along? Besides the fact that he's obviously a talented and smart young man who spells his name with a K.
Well, thank you.
Okay,
And insists that you spell it with
That's
his K.
right.
Yeah. Well, a couple of things. We have 7 theater scholars right now. And I think it's important for the community to meet some of these folks and see what they're into and see what they're talking about. I can tell you all the wonderful things there is about Barton Community College, and I can tell you about all the wonderful things we're going to do in the theater. But, when you hear it from Kolton, I could even step out of the room if I had to. I said, I think it has exceptional meaning to it all.
you said you got hooked when you were 14. What took you to jump on the hook?
Well, I started doing a show at my church. I'm a United Methodist, and we were doing a show called A Day in the Life of Jesus Christ, and it was his birth. And I played Amos, which wasn't too big of a role, and I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with how productions work and costumes and makeup and building sets and getting to know everybody and being around like-minded people that all were working towards one goal, and we were all working as a team. I think in a way, theater's a lot like sports. You have your team members and you work hard towards one goal. So ever since then, it just kind of took off.
Uncle Fester.
Yes.
Last year.
Yeah.
In
That was
the Adams family at Barton Community College.
Yeah, that was the second time I've done it. I did it my senior year in high school, too.
Did you have to shave your head then?
No, that time the director wanted me to, but the week after production, I was taking senior pictures, so that was not going to look good. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So, but this year or last year, I did.
You were, yeah. Right now, you have a head of bushy hair and
a full Amish beard.
Well, no, it's not quite that long. You're working on it. I mean, you put a hat on, you could get through the community.
Yeah, we're getting there.
But how fun was that?
Playing Uncle Fester?
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it, and I loved stepping back into that role. My sophomore year, here's a little story. My sophomore year of high school, one of my friends who's a makeup artist now was putting makeup on me, and we did the Uncle Fester look, and she was like, I think that's just your role. You're destined to play that. And then senior year comes along, and I'm Uncle Fester, and then I come out here freshman year, and I'm Uncle Fester again. So, and I called my theater teacher and told her about how I got Uncle Fester, and she was like, "Well, look at you already doing a revival in your career." So, I'm very thankful for that opportunity. It was a lot of fun, and I got to meet amazing people in the community that I probably would not have met otherwise without doing the show. So, I'm very thankful for that.
Cougar Paws on 1590 KVGV. Always have a hootin' good time. Dr. Rick Abel is in.
Because I'm funny.
Well, you are. You're just an enjoyable guy. You're
you got stories for days.
Well, he's been everywhere in the world. Yeah. Okay, I mean
that's what my daughter says to me. What haven't you done?
Yeah. I am disappointed that you didn't wear your cowboy hat in there. See, I saw you at Dillon's one day, and you didn't recognize me. I said, because I didn't recognize you for a minute. That's a good look for you.
Today would have been good because I got a second horse delivered this weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
You kind of reminded me of who was the guy that owned the ranch in the Big Valley. Do you remember that?
That was Barbara Stanwyck.
Oh, well.
Are you having some difficulties?
Well, that was Mrs. Big Valley.
Yeah, I guess so.
But anyway, that's a good look for you. Okay, so when your mind's going a million miles an hour, what are some things? I mean, first of all, okay, we got to get our town. We've got to get our audition dates. We've got to get a show dates, which will be September 29th and 30th and October 1st.
And tickets are $6 in advance. This is something new. You can call into the box office and get them in advance, or they're $7 at the door. And that's just for non-students. All students are free.
Okay.
Even if they're high school, grade school. Even when I was doing my doctoral studies, I would get my student prices. I was 40 years old, but I would get my student prices.
So what are some of the changes we're going to see?
Well, first of all, I don't know if this wasn't, but I'm really pushing to get a nice mix of people to try out for the plays, and because I think it works well. And then also to let the public know that there's so many roles that have just a couple of pages here, a couple of pages there. I don't need everybody at the theater four nights a week, 4 hours at a time. So I can work around everybody's schedule to make that happen. So that's one thing. And so with that show, and as Kolton said, I don't know if this isn't a change, I don't think, but I do like to include people and get them, let them develop their own thing. I think one of the ideas that I've had, I've never done this before, but I was thinking about it, is I'm thinking about having at least the principal actors keep a journal on a daily basis on their character so that, they can keep going with it, because I like it to come from within, but as long as you hit the mark and remember your lines, I think we'll do okay.
Kolton, you leaned back, and was that a grimace or a smile?
I think he's crazy because okay, here's my position. I'm taking 21 credit hours. I'm working 20 hours a week, and I'm doing theater. And now he expects me to put a journal on with this.
Yeah, but it's easy.
You're crazy.
Okay, certainly we talk about the actors and everything.
Yeah.
Because, that show a long time ago, The Love Boat. I saw the captain and Goose or whatever his name was. My wife watched it, Kolton.
He's now a senator.
But you never saw the guys in the engine room.
Yeah.
And if you're going to put these big productions together, you better have a pretty good engine room.
Oh, we do. Well, it's Leon Soba, who's retired. He thinks he retired from Ellenwood. Has been out working with us on tech work for years now, and I brought him on as a technical director, TD, and he's bringing back. Before he used to bring students from Ellenwood up to work with us. Now he's bringing students who've graduated from BCC and bringing them back to it. If things go the way I think it is, we'll have at least a half a dozen or more people involved with the show who are BCC alumni.
There's opportunities there, too, for you guys think, well, I want to go to New York, be an actor or an actress. Well, you can get just what you were talking about, Kolton. With makeup, things like that, technical things.
And the things I'm looking at, again, I always remind myself and the public that I'm an educator, is that the bottom line is that you don't need to be the theater major or have aspirations to be in a theater. If you just want to come out and say, I've never been in a play before, I'd like to give it a try. That's what it's all about. It's exposing, like you said before, exposing people to some new stuff and opening up their eyes to little things. And just for the heck of it, giving them an opportunity to try something creative.
Final segment of Cougar Paws today. Dr. Rick Abel, theater director and instructor. I was going to look at that.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so I'll make sure I have it right.
I changed my name on my business card. It used to say Richard. Now it's Dr. Rick.
Oh, Dr. Rick?
Yeah.
And Kolton Landreth, he is a Barton Community College student. Scholar.
Please.
Student scholar. When started the fundraising efforts for all the improvements to the Fine Arts Auditorium, you were a big driver behind all that.
Yeah. I give a lot of credit to Vern Freiberg.
Yeah, pretty happy with that now?
Yeah. It's, the two things that it does, if the people who've come to it since our renovation know that we've did an exceptional job of redesigning the seating in the house and stuff. But we also were able to update and upgrade our electrics as far as lights and sound and so forth, so to the point that we can now teach that stuff and people can move on. So we had the first student a few years ago who left here and got a scholarship for technical theater. So that's a big plus.
Barton Community College, the old theater, had the Guinness Book of World Record for saying the most consecutive times, excuse me, if you sat in the middle row.
Yeah.
It was at least 32 times.
We had nobody in those middle rows.
You'd have to go.
You had to play to the sides, right and left of house.
Okay, August 22nd and 23rd, auditions for Our Town, 4 to 8 p.m. The performance dates September 29th, 30th, and October 1st. Give us a sneak preview of what's coming up here later on this year.
Yeah, well,
wintertime.
Students will do a production later this semester, but I've got scheduled in the spring to do a play called Servant of Two Masters, written by Carlo Goldoni just a few years ago, 1755. It's an Italian comedy, which is it's like Marx Brothers on steroids. It was really like the beginning of all that mistaken identity and clowns. I need people who can juggle and tumble.
Do people just want to go to comedies anymore?
Well, I hope they go to this one.
Well, okay.
I think they prefer comedies better than the serious dramas.
Okay.
So when I pick a serious drama, that's why I like Our Town. It's serious, but when you leave the theater, you're not feeling like you're going to go commit suicide. You're so upset about everything.
Okay.
You come out there with a
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Colton, what do you like? Humor?
I like doing musicals. That's kind of I'm a singer, so I like to do musicals. And one of my favorite musicals is Wicked and The Color Purple. I mean, I love going back and forth between those two. So I like to do musicals. I don't mind doing plays, but when it does come to plays, I'm usually doing costumes and makeup versus actual acting in it. Unless it is a comedy. I do enjoy the comedy plays.
What are your plans after Barton?
I don't know yet. I'm kind of shooting for Broadway. We'll see. I've
If you
applied.
don't have something to shoot at, you won't hit anything.
Yeah,
I'll
for
tell
real.
you that.
Well,
okay?
I've applied to a bunch of colleges in state, and I'm just waiting to hear back before I make any I don't want to make any irrational decisions.
Neither do any of us, okay? That's
Exactly.
a good thought.
That's a good motto. I'm going to get a bumper sticker for that.
Kolton Landreth with us today, the former campus Colt. Yeah, that's pretty strong. And Dr. Rick Abel,
Who's been everywhere.
who's been everywhere. Appreciate you coming in. Looks like you're having a blast.
Yeah, we are having a good time. And I think that'll show to the people who get involved with us and to the people who come and see our shows.
That's our show today. Cougar Paws here on 1590 KVGB. Again, Dr. Rick Abel joining us, theater director and instructor, and student Kolton Landreth with us on the program today. News is next. Have a great day, everybody.